My name's Blaise, and welcome to the drive-by movie news of last week. Getting right into it, first off, we have that It Chapter 2 has announced one of the latest castmates. It's going to be James Ransone. He's going to be playing Eddie, who was originally played by Jack Dylan Grazer in the first chapter. I think this is a great casting. If you look at both the actors, they look so similar. It's kind of awesome. This is the best casting I've seen from them. If you're interested in some of the other casting that me and James had thought of in one of our other series called Casting Couch, we're 0 for 4 currently, so we totally failed across the book. I think we have one chance left, so we'll see how that goes. Anyways, check out Casting Couch. Netflix news is here. Guillermo del Toro's new show, 10 After Midnight, is being picked up by Netflix. It is a horror anthology of short stories and short films curated by Guillermo del Toro, all things that either he's written or found and wanted to bring to the screen, small screen that is, for Netflix. I'm looking forward to this for the most part. I think Guillermo del Toro has a great mind when it comes to horror. We just have not seen it since he hit the scene. I would say like his last great horror film was Pan's Labyrinth, and that was quite a while ago. So we'll see coming up soon with Netflix's new show. I hope that Guillermo del Toro, brings back some of the great, beautiful, terrifying things he had, like in Devil's Backbone. But we'll see. So Guillermo del Toro's new show, Guillermo del Toro Presents 10 After Midnight, should be coming out in the next couple years. So we'll see that. Next up, we have this is a little bit bigger story. It's coming out of Cannes, which was recently this past week. If you didn't know, Cannes is a huge festival in France. It's one of the biggest international film markets and also a huge festival. So, multiple movies go there, get purchased for distribution worldwide or in certain territories, and then people forget about them. But anyways, first off, we have the Lars von Trier's new film, The House That Jack Built, premiered there, as well as Gaspar Noé's new film, Climax. If you're not really sure who Gaspar Noé is, some of his films include a 3D ejaculation scene and a 10-minute backwards rape scene. He's a very controversial filmmaker. I do enjoy some of his films, but then sometimes he takes it a little way too far. A lot of people do consider him very pretentious. But anyways, those two stories collided when recently in Lars von Trier's new film, I guess when it screened, a ton of people walked out. They were super offended. One of his more recent films before that included a ton of Cannes walkouts, and then he also got banned from Cannes that year. So now that they let him back in, people were still upset. This film is very controversial, a lot of death. I guess it's a horror film, unlike some of his other films, weren't really necessarily horror films. Anyways, one person was staying during that whole screening, Gaspar Noé, and he was cracking up the whole time, just laughing. He thought it was the best comedy of the year. This is just a weird story out of nowhere. I just thought it was kind of funny. If you are into horror films, these are two weird directors that don't really direct horror films, they just direct really controversial art house films, and now they're just kind of the stories colliding, their worlds colliding. Gaspar Noé just laughing at Lars von Trier's film. Was that in good nature? Was he seeing something that maybe Lars von Trier had intended and then the audience that walked out didn't? We'll never know. Anyways, Gaspar Noé's new film Climax, which is supposed to be a musical, has been purchased by A24 and will get distribution within the next year. Last up, we have that Constantin Films, who's made a lot of the Resident Evil movies with Paul W.S. Anderson, has set a shoot date for their new film Monster Hunter. This is based off the hugely popular Monster Hunter video game by Capcom. They're going to be shooting in September, so assuming we're probably going to get this maybe late 2019 or early 2020. We'll see how that goes. I'm interested to see how Monster Hunter kind of is adapted for the big screen. A lot of the stories that people have said, how the plot is based on, isn't really necessarily that interesting to me. It's supposed to be about somebody getting connected to the Monster Hunter world while still being in the real world and the worlds collide. I don't really think that this is a great idea. I mean, Monster Hunter itself, I don't think really portrays well for a movie. I think it worked well as a video game that's just an endless grind. If you love that Destiny grind, Monster Hunter's your game. But as I get older, I do not have the fucking time for that, I'll be honest. So I just don't think this really will portray well in a movie. But I don't know, maybe it could be a great movie. I'll still probably check it out, at least for the first one, but once they make Monster Hunter 8, I'm out, just like the Resident Evil movies. Anyways, guys, if you're a Monster Hunter fan, let me know in the comments below what you think about the movie. Like, are you excited? Would you go see a Monster Hunter movie if you played all the games, or you played the most recent game and now you're like, oh, I definitely want to see that as a movie? Let me know in the comments below. We'll get the conversation going over there. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this week. Tune in next week for the news of next week.